Hey everyone, happy Monday. This is Zach with another and last, my last verse of the day devotional. I feel like I've got a weird light haze around me in this. I digress. Yes, it's my last video. Coming to an end because next week we're back in person for youth, which is very exciting. It's weird. Like, it's been a very long time, but it doesn't feel like it's been as long, and that may not be the case for everyone. But in a weird way, this last 14 months have really gone by pretty quick. And we've made it. We all made it through. Vaccines are around. It seems like we're going to get back to normal by summer, which will be pretty neat. So the verse, wrapping up Ezra, basically. There's not a good kind of verse, like a digestible verse in chapter 10, but I'll kind of wrap everything up with this verse, which is in chapter 9. So as we've journeyed through Ezra, Ezra has not been a big part of the book itself. The main point has been basically the remnant of Israel being given back their homeland of Israel, the actual place of Israel, after their captivity in Babylon. So they came back in waves, in several different groups. If you remember back, they were rebuilding the temple, and they had some issues with the people around there, wanting to kind of get their hands in on it and to stop it, and all these different things. To basically try and twist the Israelites and the blessing that God had given them, twist it for their own good or their own benefit, which is not what God wanted. So then everyone comes back. Ezra finally gets there. They worship. They do all that stuff. And they realize from last week that there's now just a bunch of intermarriage. So this is several years, I think, after... it's at least one or two kings after the first group of Israelites came back and had that initial drama of people around it. So now the people are in there, they've intermarried, and a big thing where that comes into issue is this whole point of, we're not trying to blend all these things or to become unequally yoked with people that are not Jewish and are pagan and practicing different things. They tried to get in, the people in the surrounding areas tried to get in on the Israelites back when they first got there, and they continued, and eventually they did get in via marriage. So Ezra's kind of we gotta break this up, not in any kind of weird or violent way, just kind of part ways. But so most of chapter 9 is kind of everyone coming up and agreeing with Ezra and realizing that they've kind of let God down, because God had commanded them not to basically mingle with the people around because they were not wanting God's will in that area, and God did want his will in that area. So chapter 9 is kind of them agreeing and kind of coming to terms with that, and then chapter 10 is kind of setting up how they would do it. It's literally talking about how the elders and some of the different fathers of the different houses came together and were basically setting up appointments with each person in the area. So it wasn't going to be everyone leave your wife immediately or something like that. It's going to come and make appointments, kind of make peace with it all, go your separate ways. We'll do this orderly, not in a crazy way. We're not trying to destroy people or something. But the point of all of it is that God wants the Israelites to be devoted to him and not distracted by the world or distracted by people who are going to pull them in different directions, which would be the pagan people around there. So the verse I think is a good one that kind of wraps up Ezra. It wraps up, you could stick this at the end of most Old Testament books, or every chapter of the book of Judges. as we've gone through that in our Wednesday night youth group. But so the verse, it's Ezra 9, verse 13. And after all that has come upon us for our evil deeds and for our great guilt, seeing that you, our God, have punished us less than our iniquities deserved, and given us such a remnant as this. Basically, the Israelites did evil in the sight of God. They had great guilt for it, but God basically punished them less than they deserved. And sometimes he doesn't punish them in any way. Sometimes he does. You know, the Old Testament kind of goes back and forth with what happens throughout the history. Not like on a wishy-washy way, but like the response from God is different throughout the Old Testament. But basically the idea that the Israelites still and continually do evil instead of God, fall short of his expectations, just like we do all the time. We're never perfect. We're never doing what God wants all the time. But God has mercy on us. God looks on us with favor. I mean, back then it was just the Israelites, but now we've been kind of brought into that family through Jesus Christ. So we see back then God didn't punish them as much as they deserved. But now we don't really deal with punishment in that way from God. But we're getting punished less than we deserve because we deserve a lot and we are not getting punished. But yeah, so just hold on to that if we fail, if we fall short of God, look in almost every chapter of the Bible and you will see God's people doing exactly that. But God's people still persisted and thrived and survived, and God showed mercy on them as God shows mercy on us. So never feel down that you're not good enough or that you're not doing enough for God, because as long as you have that desire in your heart and you're trying, that's all that matters. So have a great week. I'll see you all in person. I hope you can all watch these videos back, which I'm sure you're all going to do every day. See you guys.